Well, there are just a few days left before the Eagles and Cowboys game on Sunday. However, the Eagles, they hinted yesterday at practice there might be a brand new starting right guard in play for Sunday's matchup. Dallas's receivers, they're thinking they're going to carve up the Eagles secondary, if you believe this report. And A.J. Brown, he already won a big award this month. He's setting his sights on a brand new milestone. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Now, there are a lot of games that come to mind when I think about the Eagles and Cowboys rivalry, although I was trying to figure out what was my absolute favorite game in my 27 years of life, and I think it's got to be 44-6 back in 2008, mainly because it was win and get in. Dawkins was there, so still Donovan McNabb, rookie Deshaun Jackson, and they put it on the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo. An absolute drubbing. It also kind of springboarded them not only into the playoffs, but also all the way through the postseason to the eventual NFC title game where, I guess if Larry Fitzgerald had never been born, Philadelphia would have gone to another Super Bowl. Although I'll be totally honest, it's really hard to pass up on Kyle Orton throwing an interception to Brandon Boykin to not only seal the Eagles' playoff hopes, but to send Jerry Jones, who was furious in his box, packing and missing the playoffs yet again. This was, I think, one of the all-timers. Either way, I think Kevin Byard said it best yesterday when he said, quote, "I think this is the biggest rivalry in football. At least a lot of history there. A lot of great players played in these games between these two teams." Well, I agree with Kevin Byard, don't you? Hopefully Kevin can get his 4th overall interception of Dak Prescott. They call him Dak Prescott's kryptonite. Let's hope he gets number 4 on Sunday versus Dallas. What do you guys think? Give me your favorite Eagles-Cowboys memory. Maybe you're older than I am. Maybe you're younger. There's a lot of great matchups. Although Dallas has historically had us the past couple of games. Let me know what your guys' favorite memory is and give me your score prediction for Sunday afternoon. Now, a really interesting report from JAKIB Media came out yesterday saying that the Cowboy wide receiver group is laughing about how bad the Eagles secondary group is. What? Oh, wait, hang on. Scroll down. Who's the source there? Oh, wait a second. This is probably totally made up. Come on, guys. I had a lot of people DM me this tweet on Twitter. You got to go all the way to the bottom and see exactly who's reporting this thing, because the odds that there's somebody leaking the Dallas Cowboy receivers are laughing. That's the word. Laughing about the Eagles secondary is absolutely ridiculous. Come on, we're better than this. Now, I'm not saying that the Cowboys should be not excited to play the Eagles secondary. I mean, look what Sam Howell did to them just a week ago. Absolutely carved them up. Bradbury beat for a touchdown. Slay didn't really do much. But this whole notion that the Eagles secondary is absolutely terrible, just a couple of weeks away from not only holding Tua Tagovailoa to 216 yards passing, but Tyreek Hill under 100 yards and completely stymieing the best offensive football is just ridiculous. Now, there are no excuses in professional football, but I'm going to make one for the Eagles secondary. They've been incredibly banged up. They've had 9 different starting secondary groups the entire way. That's more than actual games that they've actually played because they've moved people around through the first 8 games. They've been really, really banged up, and I think this is finally the game where Kevin Byard has his second week down in the Eagles system, and they're starting to gel a lot more than people are realizing. I hope the Eagles secondary makes a big statement and kind of quiets all these "the Eagles secondary is absolutely terrible" news and rumors out there, especially if it's fake news coming from this source. Now, yesterday, we also got some practice footage from Philadelphia getting ready for their matchup at Lincoln Financial Field, starting with Jalen Hurts working out all the way on the opposite end of the field. How's that knee? Just kidding. I'm not going to ask you that question, Jalen Hurts. He looks fine, though. He's ready to rock. It's actually very interesting. This is only the 2nd overall meeting between Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott as starting quarterbacks. You think back to that 2011 game where the Cowboys absolutely routed Philadelphia. Was it 41-21 in Dallas? That was before Hurts really came into his own. That was pre-A.J. Brown and a Philadelphia Eagle team that just wasn't quite ready for the spotlight. Then this past year, Jalen Hurts played Cooper Rush in that opener at Philadelphia, and then Dak Prescott played Gardner Minshew in that absolute shootout the Eagles should have won except for Miles Sanders fumbling up there at Jerry World. Jalen versus Dak hasn't really gotten the same feeling as Burrow versus Lamar Jackson, or maybe Herbert versus Patrick Mahomes, or even Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. It feels like there are higher stake quarterback matchups, and that's because there's a lot bigger history between Burrow and Patrick Mahomes versus just one game between Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. Now, Dak has been pretty good historically against Philadelphia. To give him a little bit of credit there, he's 8-3 all-time against the Eagles, but I really hope Jalen Hurts can dominate on Sunday, be the better quarterback on the football field, and start to kind of shift this whole idea that the Cowboys have really had the Eagles' number, at least more times than not, over the past couple of years. Who do you guys think throws more touchdowns on Sunday, Jalen or Dak? I think most of you will say Jalen. I say 3 passing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts, and yes, I think A.J. Brown gets one of them. Let me know what you guys think down below. Now, the Eagles did release their Thursday injury report, and there isn't a lot of change here, to be honest. Grant Calcaterra was still listed as out. They haven't put him on IR yet, and he was spotted on video right here working out on the side of practice without a helmet, so he was officially a did not participate, even though he was working on some individual stuff. Very clearly still trying to work back from that concussion, but a good sign was Sua Opeta, who was on the injury report basically all week long and missed a couple of snaps in that win against the Washington Commanders, he was out there, he was a full participant, and looks like he's ready to rock on Sunday versus the Cowboys. Cam Jurgens activated to the 21-day practice window. He was practicing yesterday. He does have his helmet on here and did some individual drills as well as some team drills as well along the offensive line. Kind of odd, though, that he's limited and that Sua's good to go. Is Cam playing or not? I think he's probably going to be a game time decision. Now, the most interesting part of practice, and maybe today's video, is that Tyler Steen, yes, remember your third-round draft pick rookie who was supposed to be the starting right guard until Cam Jurgens completely dominated him in training camp? Remember him? He took starter reps yesterday at practice alongside Jason Kelce at center, and to his right, Lane Johnson, and honestly, he looked pretty darn good at practice. Now, I was starting to wonder if Tyler Steen just wasn't ready for the spotlight in year one as a right guard or even just a guard in general in the National Football League, but his 6 snaps on Sunday versus the Washington Commanders when Opeta went out with that minor injury, look at this stuff here. I mean, look at the handoff here in terms of the double team. This is pass blocking to a T, and Stalin University's latest student looked pretty darn good, albeit in a very limited sample size against Washington on Sunday. Now, time will tell. Again, they probably won't actually reveal who'll be the starting guard until Jalen Hurts and the offense waltzes out on a Lincoln Financial Field for drive number 1. But you start to read into this 3 days before the game, he's getting actual starter reps. I think it's safe to say that Steen has a very strong chance of being the number 1, or at worst, the number 2 if Cam Jurgens is out. I don't know. What do you guys think down below? Now, it was just 6 snaps, but don't take my word about how good Tyler Steen has looked. How about Jason Kelce? He was asked about it today, saying, quote, "I think his stock's been on the rise the last few weeks. He's got a lot of interesting traits, man. He's an athletic kid, great feet, really good twitchiness to him, operates in space well, having played tackle. I think that's the one thing that is nice when you slide a guy inside. Too many guys coming out of college that play guard and center aren't used to the spacing and the type of athletes you see in the NFL. He's playing against those players off the edge in the SEC. I think there's a lot of good, intriguing things about him," end quote. I mean, geez, Jason Kelce just basically convinced me Tyler Steen's the next great offensive lineman in the entire league with that quote, right? That was pretty darn good. As I said earlier, it was just a few months ago that we were all saying Tyler Steen is going to beat out Cam Jurgens and be the starting right guard of this team going into training camp. And then into training camp, by about day 4, you realize that Tyler Steen was not getting any starter reps. He was the 3 behind Opeta, who was also obviously behind Cam Jurgens, and he kind of just faded away into the background. But if Steen starts on Sunday and plays well, or at least is getting some second-team reps and even first-team reps in practice, and quotes like that from Jason Kelce raving about him, maybe Howie Roseman hit on all 4 of his first 4 draft picks in terms of Carter, Nolan Smith, Steen, and then Sidney Brown. Either way, I think Statland University has another star pupil, and I'm excited to see what he can do against, listen, it's a good Dallas Cowboy defensive line, not a great Dallas Cowboy defensive line. The struggle is more the tackles with Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, but as long as Steen holds up on his own, they can hit some vertical plays down the field with A.J. Brown. Now, speaking of A.J. Brown, he went ahead and won NFC Offensive Player of the Month for the month of October, which shouldn't surprise anybody because he had 40 catches, 700 yards, and 5 touchdowns in just 1 month. You put that up to the Cowboys' number 1 target, compare the 2 numbers there, and it looks like A.J. Brown is much better because his numbers are for October and CeeDee Lamb's is for his entire season so far. That's nothing against CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is still a really good receiver. He can cause some serious headaches for Philadelphia on Sunday, especially since Bradley Roby, he missed practice again on Thursday. I don't think he's going to play. That's your one big matchup. How about Eli Ricks, who got a lot of love from Nick Sirianni yesterday, one-on-one in the slot, maybe have safety help over the top with Kevin Byard against CeeDee Lamb, maybe all game long. Sean Desai said it best the other day about Eli Ricks, saying, quote, "I think he's been humble. He prepares like a pro. He's learning. He's like a sponge. He just wants more and more information." Now, he still has a lot to learn, and any rookie can have a bad game any day of the week, and CeeDee Lamb certainly could do that to Eli Ricks. But his past 2 games, how about 3 of 8, 12 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 45.8 quarterback rating. Oh, and keep in mind, that's against Cooper Kupp, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, and Tutu Atwell. Safe to say it's one of many matchups to go ahead and keep an eye on as Philadelphia tries to get to 8-1. We're talking more about this probably on tomorrow's show, getting you ready for the actual game. If you get to 8-1 and you send Dallas their 3rd loss of the entire season, you go undefeated so far, 3, halfway through, I guess, divisional games right now in the NFC East. It's not a guarantee by any means. We're not going to bloviate about the fact that the NFC East is locked up. It's not locked up yet. But winning on Sunday goes a long way towards doing that. Now, I got plenty more coverage happening the next couple of days and weeks. I did hit 24,000 subs yesterday, which is crazy. Been on a tear in terms of you guys hitting that sub button. I greatly appreciate it. Of course, if you want to join us for the actual broadcast, Cowboys versus Eagles, did a ton of fun and stuff as we always do. Myself, Josh Davis, hit your notification bell. That way you're notified whenever we go ahead and go live. I'm Thomas Mott on a Friday. This has been The Thomas Mott Show.